This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Former President Donald Trump will hold his first Wisconsin rally of the presidential campaign on Tuesday. His campaign says Trump will visit Green Bay on the day of the state's presidential primary election. Wisconsin's a battleground state, and the Marquette poll says only 2% of voters in Wisconsin have not made up their minds. President Biden's campaign co-chairman is in La Crosse and Wausau today talking about boosting the economy with infrastructure projects.
Presidents for 50 years talked about doing it. Nobody could do it, but the president did at $1.2 trillion because those are the things that are creating jobs for high-paying union workers that are transforming communities.
Mitch Landrieu spearheaded the president's infrastructure plan. He met with mayors in Madison, Milwaukee, Racine, and Sheboygan yesterday. 20 elected officials across Wisconsin are urging Wisconsin Democrats to vote uninstructed on Tuesday. They're protesting President Biden's support for Israel's war in Gaza. Meanwhile, 6 to 12% of Wisconsin voters may go with one of the third-party or independent candidates for president in November.
There's this sense that the American political system is broken and not listening to ordinary Americans. So there's lots of disenchantment.
Political scientist Kathy Kramer speaking with Wisconsin Eye. The state Supreme Court is letting a lower court ruling stand that a group of Amazon delivery drivers in Wisconsin should be classified as employees. The case is being watched closely for its impact on all kinds of different businesses. Wisconsin and other large dairy-producing states are keeping an eye on reports of bird flu in dairy cows in Texas and Kansas. State veterinarian Darlene Conkle says milk from sick cows does not go into the food supply. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. City of Duluth officials are warning residents that they will soon be paying more for water. According to a Northern News Now report, the cost of water will rise by just over 9% each year for the next 4 years, resulting in each resident paying an average of nearly $13 per billing period as opposed to $4.50 they pay now. City officials say that price hikes are necessary for infrastructure upkeep, particularly at the Lakewood Water Treatment Plant. Utility officials have a number of projects planned. Some Amazon drivers are officially employees, not independent contractors, according to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. In a unanimous decision, the court said they should not have reviewed the case in the first place, upholding the ruling that drivers in the Amazon Flex program are part of the state's unemployment insurance system and are entitled to jobless pay if they are laid off. As a result of the upheld ruling, Amazon Logistics will likely have to pay an additional $200,000 or more in taxes. A Superior bar and apartment building have been demolished following a Thanksgiving fire that left the structures condemned. According to a Fox 21 report, demolition crews were seen taking down the former Viking Lounge and the apartments on Superior's north end on Monday. The fire that caused the damage broke out around 10 a.m. on November 23rd, and fire department officials believe it was started by a lit cigarette that was thrown into a small crawl space below the ground floor. 14 people were left homeless. If you live in Minnesota and have a dog that just won't stop digging, they could be the next Ambassadog for Minnesota Energy Resources. The organization is hosting a contest where residents can submit a photo of their dog digging online, and the winning dog will be the face of the company's National Safe Digging Month campaign. The goal of the campaign is to remind people to call 811 at least 2 days before undertaking a digging project. Photos for the contest must be submitted online by April 8th. The identities of the suspect and victim of a Duluth homicide have been revealed. 25-year-old Dale Howard was arrested and charged with second-degree murder after allegedly killing his girlfriend, 27-year-old Alyssa Volan. According to the Duluth Police Department, neighbors heard Volan crying in Howard's apartment, and when police arrived, they found Volan dead with Howard in the bedroom of the apartment. Howard allegedly also violated a domestic abuse no-contact order with Volan that was issued on March 12th. The Barron County Sheriff's Office has announced it received an anonymous tip about a possible threat at Prairie Farm School. According to a press release, the tip was called into the Speak Up, Speak Out Wisconsin tip line around 1:40 on Monday. Law enforcement authorities received the tip and phone data and conducted interviews, including one with the subject of the threat tip. After a thorough investigation, officials determined that the tip about a threat at the school was not true and there was no actual danger. The Duluth City Council voted to reject a resolution calling for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza on Monday. It was a highly attended meeting with community members speaking passionately on both sides of the issue, with proponents saying the resolution would make them feel safer in the city and those against arguing the city has no authority to make a resolution like this. In the end, the resolution was rejected by a 5-4 vote. City councilors Forsman, Kennedy, Nephew, Swenson, and Tomanek were the ones to vote against it. Duluth residents have started a new internet challenge to let billionaire Kathy Cargill know they don't need her anyway. Cargill recently called the Duluth community small-minded in a Wall Street Journal report after residents and Mayor Roger Reinert questioned her intention in buying 20 properties in Park Point. After a comment about Cheerios in the report, Duluth residents have started the Duluth Cheerio Challenge, which aims to donate as many boxes of healthy cereal as possible to local food shelves. And that's what you need to know. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
Are the Packers headed to Brazil? Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The NFL is considering sending either the Packers or the Browns to Brazil for the season opener against the Eagles. When will they find out? Mark Murphy.
I anticipate probably within the week we'll find out. So it's either us or Cleveland. If they choose us, we'll welcome it. I think it'd be exciting. It'd be the first game ever in Brazil, and could be exciting, but want to make sure that we're, some of those things are worked out.
NBA, the Bucks had a 19-point lead at home in the fourth quarter, but lost to the Lakers, 128-124 in double overtime. Bucks head coach Doc Rivers.
First game in a while, it will be a good lesson for us. We didn't trust the pass tonight. A lot of zero pass shots or one pass shots. And when we play like that, we get away with it some nights because guys make shots. But we lost our trust. And that's something we haven't done. Not that concerned by it. We won't do that very often. But it will scream off the tape. And it'll be good for us to see.
College basketball, A.J. Storr says he's leaving the Badgers and turning pro, eligible for the upcoming NBA draft. Are more players leaving the Badgers program?
Mike, I don't know. They don't know. We see the world we're in. We'll have conversations. Got a lot of guys, all but Tyler, have an option to come back. And there'll be other options, I'm sure. What other, if guys want to test the waters in the draft or get feedback on that, we haven't had those conversations yet.
That's Badgers head basketball coach Greg Gard. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Have you always wondered why characters on The Simpsons are yellow? Series creator Matt Groening says simply because it's different. Groening says while creating the show, an animator showed him a yellow character workup, and Groening loved it, adding that when you flip around the dial, the color of the characters immediately say it's The Simpsons. He continued saying another thing that makes The Simpsons different is that they only have 4 fingers, a fun factoid that often goes unnoticed by many viewers. Speaking of things that go unnoticed on The Simpsons, the New York Post reports that on a recent podcast, executive producer Matt Selman talked about one of the biggest blunders of all time that happened during season 6 on the episode called And Maggie Makes 3. Apparently in the background, where Marge is telling Homer she is pregnant with Maggie, there is a picture of Maggie. It's a good thing that yellow skin jumps out at people, so they never noticed. Okay, romantics, season 28 of The Bachelor is in the books, and tabloids, including the New York Post, are calling the finale absolutely jaw-dropping. Apparently no one saw Bachelor Joey Grossaday handing a rose and proposing to the finalist who said yes. See, jaw-dropping would have been the appropriate headline if she said no. But instead, this season ended like the previous 27 seasons, in routine, jaw-dropping fashion. Here's hoping they last until the premiere of season 29. Say what you want about reality TV, but they are making strides in diversity. The Hollywood Reporter says The Bachelorette will have an Asian American lead for the first time. 25-year-old Jen Tran has been selected for the show's 21st season to fend off prospective husbands. Tran was eliminated from this season of The Bachelor, but sometimes 15 minutes of fame comes with a snooze alarm. Good luck, Jen. We hope you find TV love. If rumored new 007 Aaron Taylor Johnson does accept the role of James Bond, the New York Post reports he will have the support of 84-year-old former Bond portrayer George Lazenby on one condition, and that is that Johnson do the character justice, like Lazenby did in his one Bond film. Lazenby was James Bond in 1969's On Her Majesty's Service. For those of you headed to Google like I did, Lazenby is spelled Lazenby. The Terminator has a pacemaker. Us Weekly reports former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was given the implant due to 3 open-heart surgeries. Arnold talked about it in his podcast, Arnold's Pump Club, which, by the way, is a great podcast name, whether the subject is lifting weights or surgeries involving the heart. The 76-year-old bodybuilder was told it's pronounced pacemaker. He responded with, "That's what I said, pacemaker." For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It's going to be mostly cloudy and kind of cold today, but not quite as windy as it was yesterday. Our high 28, the wind out of the west at around 10 to 20 here throughout the day. Tonight, partly cloudy, will drop to 14. Tomorrow, sunshine 36 by Friday. Partly cloudy with a high back up to around 45. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 15.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio.